بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا انفعنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. So just before we begin, I'm probably going to need about 50 minutes today, inshallah. So I know you can't grab a soda or whatever, but you can, inshallah ta'ala, stick around and try your best. If you need to make asr or whatever in the middle, no problem. Inshallah, make it easy for everyone. So alhamdulillah, today we're going to finish up the part of Sayyidina Yusuf AS' beautiful ending. So that's why I need a little bit more time, because we want to cover as much as we can. And I just want to show a little couple of beautiful points of the surah at the end, inshallah. Okay. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay. So a quick recap for everyone. So because it's been about a week, right? So the brothers of Yusuf a.s. returned to Yusuf a.s. To his room in search of their brother. This was the part we covered last time. We as the audience recognized that the brothers still did not receive the love from their father the way they wanted, the way they intended from the beginning. They didn't receive that muhabba. Okay. They come into the room speaking as straight as possible with Sayyidina Yusuf a.s., which is the first time ever within the story. Yusuf a.s. recognizes their truthfulness. They even took the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Yusuf a.s. because he can interpret events and he can interpret speech, he knows that these brothers are speaking genuinely for the first time. And that Yusuf a.s. feels compassion for his family and longs to see his parents. And so from these two things, from he's seen that they learned their lesson, and the second thing is that he feels compassion for his family. Yusuf a.s. comes out and tells them, do you know what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were all ignorant? Right, so this is mentioned to his brothers in front of them, right? But no one could have known, and so when we look at the story again, no one could have known but them and Yusuf what they did with Yusuf a.s. The only person who could have known that was either one of them, and they're looking around like, okay, all the brothers are here, it can't be one of us. And then they're like, the only other person is Yusuf, but we thought Yusuf was dead. Like, wait, maybe he's not dead. And they looked at the king and they thought that maybe he's Yusuf, and then they realized from the different features and just everything around them and the conditions and the situation, everything just came together in this beautiful puzzle, jigsaw puzzle that Allah put together at the end, mashallah. Okay, so the jealousy was completely shattered. They admitted their mistake and that Allah gave virtue to him over them. Okay, and that's how we know when a person, the solution or the key to solving jealousy is that a person is able to recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's choosing. You cannot be jealous if Allah is choosing. Right? I can only be jealous if I think that this person actually earned it by himself, but he didn't. Allah ta'ala gave it to them. So that's what Imam Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, by the way, he gives in his Ihya Ulumuddin. He says the way to cure jealousy is that a person needs to acknowledge and recognize that the choice was never that person's to begin with. It wasn't their choice. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's choice for them. Okay, when we realize that, then we stop being jealous, because all right, if Allah chose, he chose for them, he chose for me. Rather than being angry at them, I should just be turning to Allah, and Allah ta'ala can give me more, and Allah ta'ala does, mashallah. Okay, so they admitted their mistake. They made tawbah in front of Yusuf a.s. as well, right? Yusuf a.s., of course, mashallah, we spoke about this last time. He wasn't someone to rub salt in the wounds. He just said, la tasriba alaykum al-yawm, no hard feelings, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you, right? So now we continue from where we left off, right? So Yusuf a.s., the brothers, everyone's in the room and everyone's just happy. And Yusuf a.s. is speaking to them. He's like, how's my dad? Like, my dad is doing okay, but he turned blind, because of crying over you. And Yusuf a.s. felt so disheartened in that moment. He said Allah inspired to him something. He gave him something really special. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Yusuf a.s., place your shirt on the face of your father. He'll come back to being able to see. So Yusuf a.s. tells his brothers, idhabu biqamisi hada, go with my shirt, this one, falquhu ala wajhi abi, place it onto the face of my father, ya'ti basira, he'll come back to see, right? So he says, this one, by the way, if you're wondering like why was that word put in there, hada, if everyone understood the Arabic, right, then it's like, why is a hada put here? Because if you remember, the brothers also used a shirt from before. Okay, and that shirt that they used was stained in fake blood to bring out false evidence to show that Yusuf alayhi salam was eaten by a wolf. Okay, so keeping that in mind, Yusuf alayhi salam made it clear. He's like, no, I don't mean when I say take my shirt, not that shirt. Don't worry about that shirt, because it could have brought out some bad emotions. Again, he's trying his best to make sure his brothers don't feel bad, because they're probably feeling it. It's probably hurting really bad that I tried to kill this brother, and now look at him serving us and being so nice to us and being so kind to us. Like it's just a weird experience for the brothers right now. So he's trying his best to make sure to respect their emotions, and that's something Muslims should do. Is that if we know people are hurting, we don't try to rub salt in the wounds. Okay, so Yusuf is being very careful here. Even mentioning the shirt that Allah Ta'ala told him about, he's saying, just is this shirt, not the shirt that you guys before and you guys screwed up really bad. This shirt right here, go bring it to my father. Okay, not the one that you took from before. Right? So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will show, and if you're wondering why was the shirt chosen, and I always think about it too, and subhanAllah, like such deep messages Allah Ta'ala gives us in the Quran, such deep messages. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He is showing us that some objects, the same objects can have different emotions. Okay, it's never in the object itself. Okay, so let's think about the shirt that was given to Yaqub alayhi salam when Yusuf alayhi salam was taken originally, right? That shirt was full of what? Sadness and grief. Okay, when that shirt was brought to Yaqub alayhi salam, he was brought with such sadness and grief because now he knew his son would not be coming back to him anytime soon. Okay, now this shirt that's coming is a sign of hope and happiness. What is Allah Ta'ala telling us here? Is that the objects have no power in themselves. The objects have no power in themselves. The shirt, any shirt, whatever things we have at home, whatever sentimental value we have, right? We shouldn't have such a connection with them. Rather know that Allah Ta'ala is the one who decides what emotions come from them. So remember that point, because it's very important that when in life we don't get attached to too many things around us, which Yusuf alayhi will mention at the end, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? And so then he says to place it on the face of my father, and what's going to happen? He will be able to see, and then come to me with everyone. Yusuf alayhi says, bring all your families. These are grown men. They are not little kids that they were playing in the forest and making up this fake wolf story or whatever. These are grown men that have families now, that have children now. Yusuf alayhi said to bring everyone. I want everyone to come. And some of the scholars have written that about 70 or so, 72 or so people were in the family of Yaqub alayhi, meaning all of his sons and all of his daughter-in-laws and like all their children. About 72, mashallah ta'ala. Okay, alhamdulillah, big family, mashallah. He will be able to see and then come to me with everyone. وَلَمَّا فَصَلَتِ الْعِيرُ. Okay, when the caravan started to set off, right, when the people start to get off, meaning start to come towards the area of Canaan, قَالَ أَبُوهُمْ. Okay, their father said, إِنِّي لَأَجِدُ رِيحَ يُوسُف. He says that, I really, I find the fragrance of Yusuf, okay? And he's mentioning this, which is a very, to me, it's just so amazing. It's just so amazing. At this moment, he's like, the scholars have written that when the caravan was leaving Egypt, when it was leaving, just departing from Egypt, which is like a couple of days' journey, it's not a week's journey, right? It's a long time away. From that time, from a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gets the fragrance, the sense that Yusuf alayhi salam is coming, okay? He gets the idea that Yusuf alayhi salam is almost here, subhanallah. Just, again, you're not going to get any fragrance, any scent more than one handspan away. He's getting it miles away from when Yusuf alayhi salam is still in Egypt and everything, mashallah. He's getting that fragrance. And some of the scholars said that maybe it was even, he just had a good feeling in his heart that, maybe Yusuf alayhi salam is coming close. He just had a good feeling. And this is the reason why Allah Ta'ala, again, one of the deep reasons as to why Allah Ta'ala is mentioning it is because, one of the reasons why Allah is mentioning is because when a difficulty is about to be lifted in our lives, you'll get a feeling that it's about to be lifted. You'll get a sign. You'll get a sense. Something is going right. That's informing you from Allah that everything will work out at the end. Okay. So now he says this, and he says, if you don't think I am getting senile or getting old, okay. If you don't think I'm getting old, excuse me 1 second. Sorry, having baby troubles. Okay. If you don't think I'm getting old, right? He's like, if you don't think I'm losing my senses, losing my mind, okay? And then they said, قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ إِنَّكَ لَفِي ضَلَالِكَ الْقَدِيمِ. Okay? At that moment, sorry, I didn't close up. They said at that moment that you are clearly still ignorant, okay? They said that you are clearly still in your old misguidance, okay? Meaning that you're still off the rock, or you're still in your old mistake, okay? The word dalal here is not out of like disrespect. They just said that you're still on your old mistake, because dalal means you're not doing the right thing, right? So they say you're still doing the wrong thing. You're still thinking the wrong things. They're like, this is the same stuff we've been saying from before. Nothing has changed. So they said, why? Because Yusuf AS is dead, they thought, right? Everyone thought that Yusuf AS is dead. So by them saying this, they're just thinking that, well, by their father saying this, they're like, Dad, you're doing the same old stuff, right? Or the people around them are saying that, okay? And so youngsters often underestimate the discernment, the understanding of our elders, okay? Who was right at the end? Yaqub alayhi salam was right, right? And everyone else got it wrong. So this is what happens to us too. We often feel that a person's become old, so they don't have any wisdom left to share or anything deep to give us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing us that elders have a lot to give us still, and we should always benefit from them. The Prophet ﷺ said so beautifully, it's a hadith of Hakim. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-barakatu ma'akabirikum, that the barakah remains with your elders. As long as you're with your elders, you'll find that there's barakah and blessings from Allah. Okay? So they're in for a big surprise. I think everyone's aware of that. They're in for a big surprise. فَلَمَّا أَنْ جَاءَ الْبَشِيرُ أَلْقَاهُ عَلَى وَجْهِهِ فَابْتَدَّ بَصِيرًا قَالَ لَمْ أَقُلْ لَكُمْ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Okay? So what happens is, when the bearer of good news came, and some of the scholars have written that it was the oldest brother, okay? The brother which everyone remember from before, he decided not to come back until Allah decided. So he was the first one to come back, because why? And this is something so beautiful. Again, the Quran is telling us that the oldest child, the son or daughter, should be the one that brings good news. Okay, it should be the one that brings happiness to the family. That, okay, all my other kids are brats and they're all really bad, but my eldest kid, mashallah, he's a great kid. You know, that's the feeling that the Quran gives us. So that should be always a reminder for us that if we are the oldest child or whatever it might be, we try our best, inshallah, to be at the forefront of taking care of the family. Because this is what he does, right? He comes back and he comes with this shirt, and this amazing shirt. The shirt is placed on the blessed face of Yaqub alayhi salam. When the shirt is placed on his face, right, and then taken off, Yaqub alayhi salam can see again. Okay? Now imagine being in that room. Now Yaqub alayhi salam is just, his eyes are white because they're because of blindness, right? He can't see. Then the next thing you know, the pupils have returned, the color has returned to his eyes, and he's looking around and they're seeing him and he's seeing them. They're like, oh my God, he's right. Like, oh my God, he's totally right. Yusuf alayhi salam is alive. Oh, how could this? And so everyone's just they're so frantic and crazed at this moment. Yaqub alayhi salam just stares at his sons, because all his sons came back, right? And he just tells them, قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. Didn't I tell you I know from Allah that which you did not know? At that moment, he just completely lays it down. He's like, I told you guys, I told you my Allah will do it. Like, you just, take that. It's just that feeling that, after 40 years, I'm telling you that this is exactly what I told you from beforehand. Allah Ta'ala will take care. Allah Ta'ala will provide. Allah Ta'ala handles. That's the thing that the pious people want to do. They're just like, yo man, I just wait for the time Allah Ta'ala will make it clear to everyone that Allah Ta'ala will take care. I'm waiting for the point where the virus just lifts and the masajid open and we have our Eid Jamaat. Like, at that moment, we want to make it clear to everyone that Allah Ta'ala can do. Didn't I tell you that Allah Ta'ala, that I know things from Allah that which you do not know, right? And this is something that we have to remember. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restores what is taken. Okay? So when a person has sabr and taqwa, right? Again, these two qualities. Taqwa, again, meaning that we will walk on the right way. And sabr means that we'll be patient and we'll bear with the path. Going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll be patient. If you're doing that, whatever you lose on the way, Allah ta'ala will restore it. Yaqub alayhi salam lost his eyesight. Allah ta'ala gave back his eyesight. If Allah ta'ala can give back the eyes of Yaqub, He can give me back my money. He can give me back my sadaqah. He can give me back the family I lost, right? He can give me more love that I can have for more children. If I lost a child, Allah that can replace him with another child. Allah that can give, okay? Allah that can take and Allah that can give. Remember these things. This is what we're learning from this point here. Yaqub alayhi salam received everything back. MashaAllah. He's literally all of his children, his eyes, right? And the reason why certain things might happen and we lose things here and there and then we don't find the return of these things is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us in certain places in our life that we're very heavily attached to these things. We're very attached to this dunya. We're not willing to leave this world. We're so scared of leaving this world. That's why sometimes we lose a little bit of money to remind us that Allah is telling us that, like, look, this life was never permanent to begin with. You lose a child, you lose a family member because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us that at the end of the day, no one's here to stay. Okay? At the end of the day, no one's here to stay. So we have to get ready and being aware of these things. And if a person lives with this mentality that Allah Ta'ala is the one who can give and Allah Ta'ala is the one who can take, then what they'll find is that whatever they lose on the path to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala will restore it, inshallah. Have that yaqeen, have that certainty. You gave sadaqah for Allah Ta'ala's path, you gave it for His masajid, you gave it for His madaris, you took care of the poor. Expect from Allah, okay? And this is why the scholars have said, Allahu yas'al wa la ya'khudh. Allah Ta'ala asks, but He doesn't take. Because whatever He asks for, He takes it for a bit, He returns it back to you. It's just a loan for you, okay? If a person ever lost a child, and we make dua to Allah, we make strong dua to Allah, save our children, keep our children, because they're the qurrat ayn for us, right? They keep our eyes cool, you know? But if a person ever loses a child, right, they should remember that the child is just waiting for them on the other side, right? It's not like, you know, in reality, it's still going to come back to you. The child is still coming back to you, right? If there was money that we gave for the path of Allah, it's only going to come back to you. Anything we do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes back to us. We pray, we're fasting, we're doing Ramadan. Everything we're doing is just going to come back to us. So when Allah Ta'ala asks us for ibadah, He really is not taking anything. We're just getting everything back, which is just so amazing, because this deen is just for you and I. Allah Ta'ala made this Islam for you and I so we could be successful. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and hidayah, inshallah. Okay. So, قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا اسْتَغْفِرْ لَنَا. So at this moment, the brothers are so red in the face. Okay. They came back in the morning time. And the reason why I'm mentioning these things is because we have to just be aware of the context. Okay. They came back in the daytime. How do we know this? Because when people go traveling in pre-modern cultures, they would never come back at night. It's actually against the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said that when you return to your family, return in day, don't return by night. Because if you return at night, maybe the family's not ready, they're not prepared. You know, this is pre-phones, pre-like iPhone, pre-FaceTime, everything, right? No one knew if you came at night, it'd be like a shock or surprise, right? You should come in the daytime where people are ready for you to come, right? So the Prophet ﷺ always, he encouraged that, right? And so we know that these brothers are coming back in the morning time. Okay, they're coming back in day. And if they're coming back in the day, you can imagine that their father is able to see now. If your father or my mother or whatever, if we had a family member who was blind, okay, and then they're able to see again, what's the feeling that's going to come out of your heart? Okay, I would argue that the feeling that came out of these brothers' hearts were happiness and tears of joy. Okay, and then the tears of grief would follow readily right behind. That they would also feel sad as well. That for these many years we've been deceiving our father, we've been lying to him, and we could never tell him the truth, and now the truth has come out, right? The cat came out of the bag. They say, oh Father, Abuji, please forgive us, seek forgiveness for us, all of our sins. Inna kunna khati'in. They say, oh Father, seek forgiveness for us for all of our sins, right? Because surely we were sinful, we made a mistake, okay? And they're being real honest with their dad. They're saying all these things we did out of such, shame, such shame we did these things. Please, Father, forgive us, right? And they're breaking down, they're crying, right? They're showing, what are they showing? You know, if you're looking at the story, again, I just love it because, I like studying it as a literature, right? It is literature that we're studying here, right? There is the beginning, right? Where the brothers came in the beginning, they came at nighttime. Now they're coming by day, okay? And now you're looking in the beginning of the story, they came with fake crocodile tears. Now in this time, they're coming with real tears. Just amazing how Allah has created two different scenarios. Like, same brothers, but one time everything's fake, now everything is real. Allah flips the timings too. SubhanAllah, this is an amazing story. In terms of storytelling, this is top notch. Okay, so now Allah captures all of that in their real apology. They're really crying to their dad and begging him, saying, "Please, Dad, please seek Allah's forgiveness." And it's not even they're saying, "Oh, Dad, forgive us." Okay, they're not even saying, "Dad, forgive us." They're saying, "Please seek Allah's forgiveness because we made a big mistake. We committed a crime against you, against our brother, against Binyamin. We did so many things. Dad, please, all of our sins. Please seek forgiveness." And this is something we do. We go to elders and say, "Please make dua for us." Yeah, I don't know my du'as are being accepted or not, but you, because you're a sheikh, you're a maulana, whatever, we go to you, seek forgiveness for us. Perhaps Allah will accept it from you, So that's what we need to do too. We just have to be honest that we made a lot of mistakes in our life. And if we're not getting forgiven in Ramadan, Ya Rab, the Prophet ﷺ said so beautifully. He said that, when Allah Akbar, and it scares me rather. Jibreel alayhi salam came down, he made this dua, he said, Ya Allah, whoever receives Ramadan and is not forgiven in Ramadan, Allah destroy that person. And then the Prophet ﷺ said Ameen to that dua. We make dua, Ya Allah, this Ramadan is so unique and ajib. I hope inshallah that we still get our forgiveness, we still get everything. And we'll feel it inshallah once Eid day comes, how much Allah loves us inshallah. May Allah give us so much tawfiq and hidayah. Okay. So now, قَالَ سَوْفَ أَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكُمْ رَبِّي إِنَّهُ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Okay. He goes and says, I will soon seek forgiveness from my Lord. He's looking at his sons. He's saying, oh my sons, I will seek forgiveness from my Lord. Why is he saying it soon? You're like, Dad, I asked you for asking forgiveness. Can't you ask now? Shouldn't you ask now? And he says, I will soon from my Lord. And he reminds him of two things. The reason why is because he's reminding him of two things here. Point one is that he says, my Lord, Rabbi, because he's saying, look, my Lord has been so kind to me. My sons, he's looking at his sons. He's saying, my sons, do you honestly think my Lord that has just returned my eyes, that has returned my children to me, that has given me everything back, the Lord that has provided to me, provided for me, provided my son when he was away from me, taking care of everything for me. You think this Lord will make me, will separate me and my children in the hereafter? You think that this Lord will take away my children after all the stuff he's given me? He's telling you really think I need to even seek forgiveness? My Rabb is so kind. He's not going to do something like that, inshallah, right? He's being so, and then he tells them, number two, innahu wal ghafurur rahim. And he is the most forgiving and most merciful. So don't be in doubt. Why are you in doubt? And so why did he say sofa? All right, if this is all nice, he's saying my Lord will be good to me. And then second thing is what? That my Lord is all forgiving, all merciful. That's fine. Why did he say I will soon seek forgiveness in the future? Because he has a set time for istighfar. And that time is qiyamul layl, is in tahajjud. Okay? And parents should remember that the best time to make dua for the children is at tahajjud. When did Zakaria alayhi salam receive his child? Tahajjud time, right? When did Yaqub alayhi salam, when did he receive the bashara, the good news? Tahajjud time. You know, everyone receives that tahajjud, right? This is the time when people should make dua. Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, at the time of tahajjud, what we find is Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he would be praying and his son will be sleeping right next to him. So Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, after praying long rak'ats of tahajjud, would turn to his child, turn to his son and say, oh son, these rak'at are just for you. These rak'at are just for you. I'm praying this so that you could be okay. I'm praying this so that you can be taken care of. That's what we need to remember too as parents, inshallah. Okay. So may Allah give us tawfiq. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَى يُوسُفَ آوَى إِلَيْهِ أَبَوَيْهِ وَقَالَ دُخُلُوا مِصْرَ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ آمِنِينَ. So next thing that happens is the brothers, everyone gets excited. Right? And they're like, oh man, we haven't seen Yusuf in such a, like the family's like, we haven't seen Yusuf for such a long time. The mother's happy. She's like, I haven't seen my beautiful son for such a long time. The father's ready. Everyone's like, all right, let's get packed and ready to go. Everyone's getting ready, right? And they pack everything, the donkeys, the camels, like whatever they have, right? The PS4, whatever, they take everything together and they're getting ready to go, right? Everyone's getting excited. And they falamma dakhalu, right? You know, for those people who know Arabic, you don't use fa unless it's immediately, right? Meaning Allah is capturing the fact that they rushed as fast as they could. Like, oh man, we're not waiting here. Why are we going to wait in the desert? My boy Yusuf is king of Egypt. I'm going out, you know? So they're getting so excited to get out. And so they all head out together. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَى يُوسُف. And then Yusuf meets them at the gates of Egypt. He meets them at the door. And he sees all the family members, all 70 something of them. And he's like, wow, I have such a big family. Some of us probably listening probably have big families like this, if not bigger, mashallah. You know, Yusuf meets them and he looks and everyone is there and he says, where's my mom and dad? Where's my mom and dad? So he goes to find them and he brings them close and he hugs them. Oh man, what a happy moment, you know, like what a scene. I wish we could see it. You know, someone who hasn't seen their mom and dad for 20, 30, 40 years, you know, and then finally finding them, say, bring them to me. And then he hugs them, he brings them close. And then he holds them by their hands and he brings them to the gates of Egypt. وَقَالَ دُخُلُوا مِصْرَ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ آمِنِينَ. Right? So when they entered upon Yusuf, he brought his parents close and said, enter Egypt in safety, inshallah. Okay? He says, enter Egypt in safety, inshallah. He says, now this is your home. Enter it. It's your house now. Take whatever you want. And he says, with safety, because when it comes to enjoying life, right? Enjoying life. And I think we can all really relate to it today. We can't enjoy life unless it's safe and secure outside. We're so scared of a virus, we're not even willing to touch anything outside. Now, if a place is not safe and secure, you're not going to enjoy anything. No matter what food and drinks, whatever you have, you can live in a really nice 5-star, you know, top of the class, $1 million house. But if you don't have safety and security, you're not enjoying anything. That's the honest reality. You know, you can buy a nice house in Philly, but if it's in a really bad neighborhood, you know, what are you going to do? You know, so safety and security is what allows us to enjoy life properly. So properly. So Sayyidina Yusuf a.s. is reminding everyone and he's saying that may you all enter Egypt, inshallah ta'ala, aminin, right? In safety and security. And then he mentions Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name Insha'Allah, because even in entering a safe place, it can still be dangerous if you don't take Allah Ta'ala's name. If Allah Ta'ala's blessings aren't there, if you think about it, when Yaqub alayhi salam sent his children to meet Yusuf alayhi salam originally in the beginning, right? To go back and go from separate doors, whatever, right? They didn't, they went in, but Allah Ta'ala's blessings weren't there for them. So then they ended up getting into more trouble. So Yusuf alayhi salam is mentioning Allah Ta'ala's name to remind everyone. He's reminding everyone here. I'm sorry, I just keep getting all these people. So he's reminding everyone that they should, that in taking the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can help in keeping the place safe and secure. Okay, so inshallah, let's keep going. And again, I remind everyone, inshallah, please keep your videos off and please try to keep yourself on mute. Jazakallah khairan. Okay. وَرَفَعَ أَبَوَيْهِ عَلَى الْعَرْشِ. Okay. So Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, he takes them all to his palace. Okay. This, they came from where? A small little desert home, the house of a Nabi. And again, he's a Nabi, and Nabi Yusuf is also Nabi, right? But some Nabis of Allah Ta'ala, some prophets of Allah have very small little accommodations in this world. Some of them have deluxe, beyond deluxe accommodations in this life, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give. Allah Ta'ala decides, right? Allah Ta'ala chooses who He can give His Rahman. نُصْلِيبُ بِرَحْمَتِنَا مَن نَشَاءُ. We give our Rahman to whomever we want. Allah Ta'ala says that in Surah Yusuf, right? So now He brings him to the palace, and his dad's like, wow, Yusuf, you've done really well for yourself. He's like, thanks, Dad, Allah Ta'ala can give, mashallah, So then they go inside their room and, he shows them the throne. And then what does Yusuf alayhi salam do? He says, Dad, I want you to know that this is just for you. This is for your honor, okay? I'm a nobody. You're my dad. You gave me everything, and I love you so much. So he says, Mom, you're the one who cared for me and nourished me when I was young. You're the reason why I'm here. So he tells them both, get on my throne. You both sit on my throne. So they both sit on the throne, okay? And you can imagine that feeling, to be at the top of the world, really, be at the top of the world at the time. That no other empire is great as your empire. No other country is great as your country. Sitting on that throne. And then what happens is what? Yusuf is there and he's looking at his dad and mom on top, right? Looking down towards him. And the brothers are also facing Yusuf alayhi salam. All the brothers are facing Yusuf alayhi salam. And they all, when they see Yusuf alayhi salam like that, the mom and dad get off of the throne, and from the top, the platform that they're on, they fall into sajda. And then the brothers that are in front of Yusuf alayhi salam also fall in sajda. They say, welcome Yusuf, right? They all go into sujood for him. And this was, of course, like we spoke about before, it's completely permitted in previous nations out of a sajda of respect. They used to do these things for people when they wanted to show respect. So they all fall into sujood for Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. And this was, of course, at this moment, if you put yourself in the heart, in the mind of Yusuf alayhi salam, right? This is the foreshadowing which was told in the first scene of the story. The first scene of the story, when Yusuf alayhi salam saw the 11 stars, the sun and the moon. This is when the director would shift you and tell you, he'll bring you back into the first scene, where Yusuf alayhi salam, as a small little boy, is telling his dad, saying, Dad, I saw 11 stars and a sun and a moon. And Yusuf alayhi salam looking at them, and probably the picture of the sun and the moon will come in front of his mom and dad. And then you see the stars on top of his brothers, right? He's probably imagining all these things. And at this moment, he's recognizing that everything just came full circle. Because he never, until this point, he's still wondering, when is the interpretation of the dream going to be fulfilled? And finally, he's there, being so happy and elated and excited. Probably even in his mind, the dream probably skipped his mind too. He sees everything come full circle. Everything come full circle. Everything comes back to the beginning. And he goes and says, Ya abati, hada ta'wilu ru'yaya min qabl. He says, oh my beloved father, this is the interpretation of my dream from long ago. From way back when. This was the same interpretation. And this is, if you're noticing the storytelling, the first time he said, Ya abati, was when he first told his dad about the dream. In the beginning of the surah, he says, Ya abati inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaba. Oh father, I saw 11 stars, sun and moon, right? In the beginning of the surah. And this is the second time he says, throughout the story, Ya abati, oh my beloved father. And now this time he told him this is the interpretation. It's amazing. Like, how do you do that? How do you write a story so well? Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. And he says, قَدْ جَعْلَهَا رَبِّي حَقًّا. My Lord has made it true. My Rabb, the one who's taking care of me, my provider has made it come true. That everything has led to this moment. All the things. And Dad, you told me before I was chosen by Allah. Now you're seeing how Allah chose me. And Dad, you told me that Allah would teach me the interpretation of events, interpretations of dreams, interpretations of speech. And now, Dad, we see everything come together. He's just saying everything to his father. And at this moment, this is the time where you and I, when we are speaking, we say, oh father, this is what happens. And and this is the time to tell your dad, this is what happened in my life. Okay? It's the time to tell your dad, This is what happened in my life. وَقَدْ أَحْسَنَ بِي, right? And he goes and says that he has treated me so well. He has treated me so well when, right? And if we take a pause there. Now, this is the time when you and I need to take a pause and tell ourselves, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we have an opportunity now to tell people about the blessings we received, what would we start with? What would we end with, right? If you had to tell someone your life story, you have to tell someone your life story basically, right? You don't have that many words. You gotta, within like 100 words or less, let's just say 50 words or less, right? You gotta cover everything, okay? Now's the time to recollect and remember what Allah ta'ala did for Yusuf AS. So what would you choose? What would you start with? What would we start with? You know what we would start with? Yeah, so I was thrown in the well by my brothers, and they were really mean to me, right? Or like, what would we say? Yeah, Zulaykha tried to seduce me. Or like, what would we say? And I was thrown in jail, right? We would start with all the complaints. We start with all the complaints and frustrations. We get so upset. Yeah, my dad married me off to this terrible guy. I hated him so much, and then this isn't this. And then alhamdulillah, Allah made it better at the end. Like we would start off with all the worst things in the world that ever happened to us. And then we go to like, hey, yeah, and alhamdulillah, it kind of worked out, But that's not the way that a believer should be. Okay, that's not a way a Muslim should be. We should be thinking differently, and that's what Yusuf AS does. He's like, you know what? I have to tell them my life story, and I gotta do it within a few words. So what does he do? He chooses وَقَدْ أَحْسَنَ بِي إِذْ أَخْرَجَنِي مِنَ السِّجْنِ. The most perfect moment. He said, when Allah Ta'ala took me out of the jail. When Allah Ta'ala took me out of the jail. He doesn't say Allah put me in the jail. He says when Allah Ta'ala took me out of the jail, acknowledging that the positive moment of his life, the happy moment of his life, not the sad moment. So he said that this is the time where everything changed. This is the time where everything changed. If you're thinking about Yusuf AS' story, the time when he exited the jail was literally when he started to become the king, take care of Egypt, and all these things, mashallah. This was a time where everything started to change for him. Everything became revolutionized for him. And now he's only focusing on the positives. This is what we do when we're thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not saying, Ya Allah, you broke my leg, and Ya Allah, you put me in an accident. Hey Allah, I don't know if I'll survive after this, and this stuff. That's how is that really thanking someone? Is that really thanking someone? We have to be really careful when we're making dua. When we make dua, make it with the best words, the best choice, the most beautiful language, because that's how Allah accepts these things. Because He wants to hear your beautiful words. He wants to hear your beautiful heart. That's how we should make dua to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Okay, so he focuses on that. And if we're thinking about changes in our life and the life of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the change in time of the Prophet ﷺ was also through being in a quote-unquote a jail or a cave. Okay, in the cave of Hira, in the beginning of the Prophet ﷺ's life, he was also put in there for some time. And in the cave of Thawr, between his travel between Makkah and Medina, the Prophet ﷺ was also in a certain quarantine, quote-unquote, to receive some guidance or hidayah from Allah Azza wa Jalla. So Yusuf AS was highlighting the point that in the jail, I received all the blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah that took me out of there. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his time, the cave of Hira and the cave of Thawr were also there for the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And maybe you and I now in this Ramadan, we're receiving the blessings of Allah. If as long as we're doing dhikr and ibadah, we're being committed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, perhaps this is the changing point. This is the pivotal moment in our life that Allah ta'ala will change the trajectory, the path that our life is taking, inshallah. Okay? And so we all be sent eventually to seclude ourselves, right? And then one day we'll be taken out of the seclusion. وَجَاءَ بِكُم مِّنَ الْبَدْوِ. And he says, so number one, he says that when Allah took me out of the jail, so he's only thinking about the positives, not the terrible moments of his life. He doesn't mention any of the terrible moments. And he says, and when Allah took you all out of the desert area, okay, He brought you all out from the desert. Because desert life is difficult life. And I want everyone to remember this. If you're living in luxury, mashallah, some of us are living in real, like the lap of luxury, I always made a joke to everyone when I first moved to Burlington. I was put in the room in the back of the masjid. I said, subhanallah, I shared a bed with 4 brothers. This small little room in the back, you all think is very small. I think this is huge. This is like deluxe 5-star hotel to me, mashallah. It's like living in the Hilton. Because of the fact that we come from simple backgrounds, right? And if you come from a simple life, you just appreciate things more. It's just how it is. Okay. Now everyone, mashallah, is living in the lap of luxury. Whether you came from Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, from an Arab country, whatever it might be, you came from a different area. Now you came to the lap of luxury, mashallah, living in such a good life. You should make shukr to Allah. That's what Yusuf AS is doing now. He's thanking Allah that Allah is taking you out from a difficult life. That's completely fine. You can't say, oh, astaghfirullah, brother, you're living in such good life. You should give everything to, he's a big fraud, everything big fraud. Get rid of everything. No. That's fine. Alhamdulillah. Thank Allah for these things. Just thank Him. That's the thing that we should be doing in these moments. Okay? Thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here. So if you're thinking about the way he thanked Allah, he first thanked Allah for the blessings he received himself, meaning getting taken out from the jail. And the second thing that he thanked Allah was for the blessings that his family received, right? His dad and his mom. So he's thanking Allah Ta'ala for his family. And he also thanked Allah Ta'ala for the luxuries and for the luxuries that they received. Okay? So thanking Allah Ta'ala for them is something that we can make a habit of, all right? Mentioning times that people would not get offended. And of course, if we're thinking about it, he could have mentioned the time he got out of the well, but the reason why he didn't say that is because his brothers are there. And again, he's really careful with his words. Yusuf A.S. is so eloquent. He's so good with his words. He's making sure to be careful to not upset his brothers' hearts at that moment too. MashaAllah. Okay. So, an-naza' ash-shaytanu bayni wa bayna ikhwati, he says. And by the way, I want to remind everyone that I'm going to take up to like 6:50 today. So if you need to go earlier, that's fine. I just want to, inshallah, I want to do justice to the story as much as I can, whatever ability Allah has given us to appreciate the story. And he says, min ba'di an nazagha ash-shaytanu bayni wa bayna ikhwati. He says that after which shaitan had caused a strife between me and my brothers. Okay, he goes and he doesn't blame his brothers, he blames shaitan. He says shaitan is the one who caused this issue, this problem between us. And if you remember from the beginning of the story again, what was the first lesson Yaqub a.s. gave Yusuf a.s.? Inna shaytana lil insani aduwwum mubin. Yusuf a.s. was told by Yaqub a.s. in the beginning of the story that shaitan is a clear enemy for human beings. So this is literally, he's showing his dad that I learned your lesson, dad, and I haven't forgotten it. Shaitan is behind everyone. SubhanAllah, it's just amazing. Amazing how well the story comes together. Inna Rabbi latifun lima yasha. He goes and says, my Lord this is the word Latif. Remember this name of Allah. People forget this name of Allah. Inna Allah Latif. My Lord is extremely subtle, extremely gentle. Lima yasha. For what Allah Ta'ala wants, He has a very, very intricate plan. People want the divine hand of Allah to come down. If Allah's divine hand comes down, countries and societies will be ripped off the ground. When Allah's power came down, Lut a.s.'s community was ripped out. So don't expect Allah Ta'ala, if you're asking Allah to bring down His power coming down is not easy for the world to handle. Okay, the world is terrified of Allah's might and strength because Allah is that type of king. He's so powerful. Okay, what we expect from Allah, what we hope from Allah is Allah that gives us the gentle path. Okay, the gentle path will take some time, but Allah is so gentle. People think they're going to understand Allah. You're not going to understand Allah. You're not going to understand Allah. You're not going to understand any of His planning. You can't. It's impossible for you and I as human beings to understand what Allah's plan is because He's so latif. He's so subtle with what He does. So be very understanding of what's happening in our life. We should just accept these things, that Allah has a deeper plan. If there's no way I can control it or no way I can change it, if there's no way I can get out of the jail cell right now, I should just accept the fact that Allah wants me to be here for some time, and I'll bear with it, and I'll deal with it, and I'll handle it. And if you do that, you'll have a beautiful end like Yusuf a.s. He says this, my Rabb is so latif. He's thinking about all the blessings Allah gave. Innahu al-alimul hakim. And He's all-knowing and all-wise. He's all-knowing and all-wise. The statement comes up 3 times. The first time came up when Yaqub a.s. spoke about Yusuf a.s. in the beginning. When Yusuf a.s. was told by Yaqub, Allah is going to make you like this, He's going to make you like this, you're going to be like your father Ibrahim and Ishaq, mashallah, he was becoming so happy. So Allah is Alimul Hakim, meaning that Allah is full of, at that time, because Yaqub a.s. is speaking with full of hope. He's speaking with lots of hope there. So that's the first time speaking with lots of hope. The second time, after losing Binyamin, Yaqub alayhi salam, he goes and says again, Inna Allah alimun hakim, innahu al-alimul hakim. Again, He's all knowing, all wise. Because that time, if we think about the emotions of that time, it was out of sadness. He said out of grief. He's like, my Lord is still all knowing and all wise. And then the third time, Yusuf is saying it now. And Yusuf is saying out of gratitude, out of shukr to Allah. He's saying, my Lord is all alim and hakim. So, the amazing thing that Allah is trying to highlight here, or trying to tell us here, is that feelings will come and go. Okay, feelings will come and go. You're going to know Allah is alim and hakim. Okay, His plan is really deep. You're not going to be able to fathom it or understand the depth of it, right? But certain times you're going to feel really hopeful of Allah's plan. And certain times life is going to get a little hard. You're going to feel a little depressed. But even that moment, you still say what? Allah is alim and hakim. He knows and He's all wise. Okay? And then the third time is what? When you feel like really happy about things. Then you should say, Alhamdulillah, Allah can plan. Allah knows. That's what we need to do. At every single life moment, at every single moment of our life, we should tell ourselves that feelings will come and go, but Allah will remain the same. Then the last part comes, the final part. The part that I want everyone to kind of focus on and think about, okay? This amazing story was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, mashallah. Such beautiful lessons we learn, so many wisdoms we learn, mashallah. Then finally, the last part comes with Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. It shifts to a dua. It shifts to a dua. The ulama write that this was a dua at the end of life, at the end of life, at the end of the life of Yusuf alayhi salam. At the end of his life, he makes this dua. He says, Rabbi qad ataytani min al-mulk. Okay, so now think about this man who's been so successful in the worldly and religious matters, worldly and religious plane. You can honestly say, I can honestly say, I'll never be as rich as Yusuf alayhi salam. I'll never be as wealthy. I'll never be as successful. Really, there's no way in terms of dunya or akhirah, never. Okay, we're always going to find that we're a little deficient in these things. So he goes and says, Rabbi qad ataytani min al-mulk. He says, oh my Lord, you have given me some rule, some power, some authority in the world. And you taught me some interpretation. وَعَلَّمْتَنِي مِن تَأْوِيلِ الْحَدِيثِ. Some interpretation of speech. A little bit of stuff, a little bit of rule and a little bit of interpretation. Meaning he's saying that this nubuwwah you gave me is very small. And this rule is very small. Is he belittling it? He's not belittling it. What is he trying to say about it? Rather, he's saying, فَاطِرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Oh Allah, you are fatir. Fatara means to split or to crack something. Literally just one crack and one split of Allah Ta'ala's power. Allah that was able to create the heavens and the earth. Okay? He's saying, Allah, compared to your power, giving me nubuwwah was nothing. Ya Allah, compared to your power, giving me kingdom was nothing. Allah, you own the heavens and earth. What is my small little kingdom and small little nubuwwah going to do compared to what you know, what you have, Ya Rabbil Alameen? Saying, Fatir, this is nothing for you. Fatir, this is nothing for you. You are my wali, anta wali. Remember this dua, memorize it. Memorize this dua. Rabbi, anta wali fit dunya wal akhirah. You are my wali. My wali means my protector. My wali means my supporter. My wali means my guardian. Wali means my friend. My Allah, wali means someone who is so close to you. A wali means waliya, that's someone who's close to you. That inside, outside Allah, that's so close to us. Okay? And in this life and the next, anta wali fit dunya wal akhirah. You are my close friend in this life and the next. Such a powerful friend we have. The heaven and the earth, it was made because of him. And now he's our close friend. Ya Rab, amazing. I wish I had that type of call. I wish I had that connection with Allah. I can just raise my hands and this creator of the heavens and the earth will change the heavens and the earth to make my dua come true. MashaAllah, make dua to Allah. Cry to him. Ask him. Take me as a Muslim. Tawaffani Muslima. Take me as a Muslim. Wa alhiqni bis salihin. Ya Allah, take me with the kalima la ilaha illallah at the time of my death. Ya Allah, I'm a Muslim by word and action. I want the la ilaha illallah in my tongue. I want la ilaha illallah in my actions, in my hands, in my feet, in my eyes, and in my heart. I want to make sure that every single part of my life and my body is guided by la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. He wants this kalima la ilaha illallah for him. Okay? And we want the la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah for us. Okay? So he makes this dua. And this is a passionate dua of what? Of a person who knows what life is really about. He's lived in the life of a lap of luxury, a humble desert life, a life in the castle, in the palace. He's lived everything, mashallah. He knows, and he's telling us that this is what a person should know at the end of their life. Okay, what makes a person really successful. Okay, so if we thought the reason, what is the purpose of making this dua? Why is Allah showing us the dua of Yusuf AS at the end of his life here? Because Allah is showing us something really important. We thought the success was what? When Yusuf AS finally his family is in Egypt and now everyone's living happily ever after, right? Allah Ta'ala is telling us that's not the goal here. That's never been the goal. For a Muslim, that's not the goal. Because the roller coaster of life will one day come to a stop. Up and down it will go, right? And one day we will have to get off of this roller coaster. It's going to happen eventually. We're all going to have to get off eventually. And what's going to happen is a successful life is the life that you leave this world as a Muslim. Allah SWT is saying that the success of Yusuf a.s. was not that his brothers got hidayah and that his family came to Egypt. The success of Yusuf a.s. is that he is able to leave the world as a Muslim. And at the day of judgment, he's not raised with kings and emperors and Fir'aun and whatever. He's raised with Anbiya, Ibrahim, Ishaq, Yaqub, his forefathers. He wants to be raised with them, and that's what you and I should have a goal for. Everyone wants to stand with the billionaires, wants to stand with Bill Gates, wants to stand with Jeff Bozo or whatever. Right? We try to stand up with these types of people. And I don't even care if I get those names right or wrong, whatever. We're all concerned about being with them. But what about standing with Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam on the day of judgment? What about standing with Ibrahim alayhi salam? You and I will have to face Qiyamah eventually. We might as well get ready for it now and understand the success is not that this up and down is happening in my life. I got divorced, I have a kid, I lost a child, I lost a family member, I lost these things. These are things that are happening in life. Don't get confused, don't get convoluted, don't think that this is the goal. The goal is what? Not in the quarantine to survive the quarantine. The goal in life is that you survive on the day of judgment. You survive on Qiyamah. You say La ilaha illallah and you live on La ilaha illallah and you die on La ilaha illallah. You come in Qiyamah with La ilaha illallah. That's the success that we are looking for. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the last final comments inshallah that I wanted everyone to just kind of like, just think about. And this is, at the end of the surah, you're going to find that the story ends like one page early. And you're wondering like, what is the last page about? It's not about Yusuf AS at all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really shifts the discussion. He shifts the discussion. He says, that is from the news of the unseen, which we revealed it to you, O Muhammad. That we need to think, after listening to this entire story, Allah ta'ala says, you weren't there, Muhammad, when they came together on their decision, while they were plotting. Why is Allah ta'ala switching the topic? Because after listening to this entire story, Allah ta'ala shifts to the most important part. It is you and I. How are you and I taking the story? Not to just listen to a story. We could have listened to Harry Potter or like Twilight or some other weird story and we were, had a lot more buzz, right? But this story has different things for you and I. The first thing Allah Ta'ala wants us to understand is this wondrous story. Did we realize that there was no way for the Prophet ﷺ to know this story? How did he learn this story? Where did he receive the story from? He never was around Jews and Christians to learn the story. Where did the Prophet ﷺ learn it from? He learned it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala taught him the story. So you and I, by listening to Yusuf AS' story, we should become better believers. To think that this Islam that we have is a real Islam. Is going to benefit us, inshallah. You did not ask them for any reward, and there are a lot of things Allah mentions at the end. I'm going to just quickly go through it, inshallah, because I just wanted to just, again, just highlight that one point that Allah Ta'ala wants us to take the story and bring it to ourselves, right? And that Allah Ta'ala's help will come to us. Whatever happened to Yusuf is an example for you and I that inshallah we'll have that same type of success, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? So the last thing is that Allah Ta'ala says, the last ayah is that لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةٌ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. There is a lesson for the people of understanding in the story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you will understand that the help of Allah Ta'ala is near. You will understand that things will work out for the best. And that if you know that everything is being done under the supervision of someone who's exceptionally knowledgeable and extremely wise, if you know everything's happening under his power, then you should be fine that Allah will take care of you and I. The same way he took care of Yusuf alayhi salam, it's going to happen for us. None of this would have happened though. You have to remember this. None of this would have happened if Yusuf alayhi salam did not go into the well. None of this would have happened if Yusuf alayhi salam didn't go into jail. He needed to be in those moments. It just had to happen, okay? So even the tough moments in our life have a purpose. You're going through something very difficult, there's a purpose behind it. Don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of that reality. That if I'm going through something difficult, there is a maqsad, there is a goal behind it. Wallahu ya'lam wa antum la ta'lamun. Allah Ta'ala knows and you do not know. Okay? And Allah Ta'ala says, this is of course a story that has an explanation of everything, and there's so many lessons in the story. Inshallah, maybe one other day outside of Ramadan we can really just go into it. I wish we had time, Ya Rab, there's so many things, so many lessons in the story. I wrote them all out and there's so many lessons I couldn't finish writing all the lessons out. It's just too many. Allah says the story has everything. And I really felt like the story had everything, about everything you need in life as a human being. You have it in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Okay, it is a mercy, a guidance for people who believe. If you read the story, things will make sense. Things will just make sense. Study the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Whenever you feel difficult, life is becoming a challenge for you. Look at Yusuf alayhi salam. Just go to his story. Just go to his story. You'll feel better at the end. You'll definitely feel better at the end. You'll be patient with being Muslim, inshallah. And you'll continue your own story. Okay? The point again was that you and I will continue our own stories. We will continue our own story and will know that Allah will tell our story. Okay? While Yusuf alayhi salam was living his story, Allah was telling his story. That's what's going to happen to us too, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah give us all tawfiq. Yusuf alayhi salam's story had a very happy ending, and ours will too, inshallah. May Allah give us the best in this life. And to say Jazakallah khairan, in 10 parts, alhamdulillah, we were able to finish the story. I make dua to Allah, Allah to allow us to benefit and appreciate it. MashaAllah, we have many more stories for the rest of the month of Ramadan. I hope everyone comes again with that heart of learning and appreciation for the lessons of the Quran. Allah to allow us to adopt these lessons. And if we, I feel like I cry every time at this end of Yusuf alayhi salam. The stories are so beautiful, subhanAllah. This is really amazing, the way Allah helps people at the end. Allah give us the best, inshallah. Just final comments. For those people that are looking onto the PowerPoint, and I'm sorry for the people who's joining from Rahman Council, in Burlington we have our PowerPoint up. MashaAllah, you'll notice that the scenes that Allah puts in the story are just so amazing. I'll just mention two things because we're already, basically at the end of time. If you're looking at the we'll focus on these two. The meetings of brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam. If you look at meeting number 1 with Yusuf alayhi salam, when they first went to go meet Yusuf, right? When they first came to meet Yusuf alayhi salam, meeting number 1, they didn't have Binyamin, right? So they minus 1 brother. Meeting number 2, when they went with Binyamin, before they left Egypt, right? They lost 2 brothers, right? And then meeting number 3, is plus 3 brothers. So meeting number 1 was minus 1 brother, meeting number 2 is minus 2 brothers, and meeting number 3 is plus 3 brothers. They came back with Binyamin, with the oldest brother, and Yusuf alayhi salam, right? Which is amazing. The cups, right? The cupbearer, in the beginning, he freed Yusuf alayhi salam from jail after a long time. And the cup of the king imprisoned Binyamin immediately. If you think about the story, there's a guy who he had the cups, right? He would feed he was the wine bearer. He used to feed the king wine, right? He freed Yusuf alayhi salam after a long time. And the cup of the king that Yusuf alayhi salam placed in the bag of Binyamin actually imprisoned Binyamin, which is amazing. If you're looking at dreams, one person who ended up having a dream that he was going to die, he finds life in the hereafter, right? One person finds life in the palace of the king from one of his dreams. One person, the king himself, finds life for his country, right? And then one person finds life with his family, which is Yusuf alayhi salam. This dreams are just amazing. May Allah give us all tawfiq, mashallah. There are so many things. Ya Rab, Allah give us time and love, inshallah, for these surahs. Wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam Muhammad wa alayhi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.